welcome to Mount Kelly Prep Radio's 20 Questions, Episode 5, with me, Toby Berryman. Today our guests are the headmaster, Mr. Jeff Mason, and the site manager, Mr. Jason Brady of Bridge Farm Primary School. Bridge Farm Primary School is located in Bristol and recently became famous worldwide after they received a gift from Banksy himself. They chose to name one of their school houses after him. He jumped their wall during the holidays and he left a piece on one of their playground walls. He also left a note to the site manager, which read, "Dear Bridge Farm School, thanks for your letter and naming a house after me. Please have a picture. If you don't like it, please feel free to add stuff. I'm sure the teachers won't mind. Remember, it's always easier to get forgiveness than permission. Much love, Banksy." Banksy later confirmed that the work was his. Hello, can you both fill us in more on the story of this artwork?
We had a competition between the children at the school to come up with different house names, and we decided on Cabot and Brunel and Blackbeard and Banksy. And because Banksy was the only person who was still living, we thought that we would write to him to see if he wanted to comment on our houses or maybe provide us with something.
Mr. Brady, what was your reaction when you first saw the piece?
I was a bit shocked and surprised to see this graffiti on the wall, and then once I looked to the corner and it said Banksy, I thought, oh dear, I better make a phone call.
Mr. Mason, how did you feel when you were told this over the phone by Mr. Brady?
First of all, I thought it was a little bit of a joke because the phone call was quite early in the morning and I was just on my way to school. But then I realised that Mr. Brady was very serious about it, and I was quite excited but also a little bit nervous about what had been painted on the school wall.
What do you both think the piece's message is?
I think the artwork is interpreted in many different ways, and it's entirely up to the individual to decide what they think. I like it, but I think it means a lot of different things. Mr. Brady?
I think it's just a representation of a child playing and having fun, representing the school.
What do you both think about Banksy's anonymous persona?
The fact that Banksy is anonymous, so nobody knows who he is, makes it a little bit more interesting. And because he is supposedly based in South Bristol, then it creates a bit more interest, I think, sort of locally. So, yeah, I think it's fine. It's quite exciting, isn't it? It's quite exciting to have somebody come onto site that you're not quite sure who's done it. So Banksy could be anybody, anywhere.
I'm sure you've both had a very hectic year. What has it been like since the artwork was put up?
First of all, we had a lot of people that just turned up to the school to come and see it. So members of the public who just lived in Bristol. We've had people from further afield. So we've had tourists from Belgium, China, contact from schools in New Zealand, Australia. We've had people writing to us. You name it, we've had it. We've had German tourists this week, so all sorts of people have come, and it's been ever so busy. Plus, we've had a lot of interest with the media and television as well.
During the summer, we had a lot of people wanting to come into the school and have a look. So me and Mr. Taylor, the caretaker, we're taking people down so they can take pictures of it, as they were allowed to.
Mr. Mason, why did you choose to name one of your school houses after Banksy?
Well, I didn't really choose the name. We had a competition with the children and we asked them to think about sort of famous Bristolians, people they were familiar with, and Banksy is obviously a world famous artist and a local artist, so we thought Banksy was a good idea.
How have the students reacted to the work?
Everybody in the school likes the Banksy because it's now a feature of our school. On the first day, a lot of people were surprised and shocked. There's been a lot of people having their photograph taken with it. But all the parents that I've shown around the school and all the children that have been in the school have liked it and are very pleased that we have a Banksy.
How has the work affected the influx of pupils?
Well, we've had a lot of people come to see it and a lot of people that are interested, but it hasn't affected how many children come here because we've already got 600 children and we're full. So the school is already oversubscribed. So we've just got people coming to visit.
Do you enjoy having the piece there, and why?
I do like having the Banksy in the school because it's part of Bridge Farm. It belongs to Bridge Farm. Maybe in the future it might end up in a museum, possibly, but I think it's just part of what the school's about now. So it's something that we did and something which is here, so it's good to celebrate it and good to enjoy it.
Have you received offers from people to purchase the work?
We've had a lot of people that are interested in looking at it in a professional capacity, and we had the picture valued between £400,000 to £700,000. But we haven't had anybody that has actually said they would like to buy it. Some museums are interested in having it, but we haven't discussed it because it's a picture that belongs to Bridge Farm.
Mr. Brady, did you realise that it was a Banksy as soon as you saw it?
No, not at first. I thought it was just a bit of graffiti, but then I saw the letter and then the Banksy signature, and then that's when the alarm bell started ringing.
Mr. Brady, how has this work affected your job?
I wouldn't say it affected my job. It's one less wall I have to paint. I have to check the Banksy obviously every day, make sure nothing's happened to it, no one's come in and tried to tag it. So it's part of my daily routine, checking the Banksy.
Have you had to put extra security measures into effect because of the work?
We did at the start, as it was uncovered, and we were a bit worried about what would happen to it because of the interest of people wanting to look at it.
Could you quite believe the media reaction from this work?
I think Mr. Brady and I were both very surprised on the day that the Banksy was there, that we had national and international news. We had phone calls from CNN and ABC in America, and we were on the radio and television, and Mr. Brady was on Gogglebox. So a lot of media interest from, well, lots of different TV stations, really. So we were very surprised that it was such big news, and we had reaction from all over the world. So yes, we're very surprised.
What are your personal views on Banksy's art?
I am more interested in Banksy now than I was, and I know much more about Banksy's art than I did previously. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's really clever. It's really clever, really creative, and it's interesting, isn't it?
As for me, I never really followed Banksy up until what happened at the school. I've looked at other previous work, and I do like some of it, yeah.
Are either of you Banksy fans?
I wouldn't say I was a Banksy fan, because although I've lived in Bristol and I've seen some of Banksy's work around and about, I haven't paid too much attention to it, but I think his work is clever. I do think that it's really quite interesting, and I wouldn't describe myself as a fan, but I'm certainly an admirer of his work.
If you could talk to Banksy, what would you say to him?
What would I say to him? Well, I'll say thank you, first of all, for doing the work at the school.
I'd ask him if I could have a little picture for me. Be quite nice to have your own little private Banksy picture, wouldn't it?
How have you been able to use this work to help in schoolwork?
The artwork has generated a lot of discussion and a lot of debates and a lot of interest from the children of the school. So we've used it to discuss all sorts of issues, really, right through the curriculum. So it's been really quite inspirational for us to have it, and we've also been able to engage with other children at other schools as well. So yeah, it's been an interesting time for us, and it's given us an opportunity, I guess, across the curriculum which we didn't have and hadn't thought about. So in all sorts of ways, really.
What are your future plans for the work?
Mr. Brady's going to look after it and keep an eye on it, and it'll stay at Bridge Farm. Potentially at some point it might go to the M Shed, which is a Bristol museum, but at the moment we have no plans apart from just to keep it in the school.
Thank you for joining me on 20 Questions.